Howdy folks, hope you're all having a good one, and welcome back to World of Warships with Rear Admiral Jingles. This is Kadir 121. In the technically Tier 11 supership, the USS Annapolis, he is joined in a division, first by Muggy Cat, who you can see in the background there, in yet another Tier 11 supership, HMS Devastation. More on that monster in a moment. And last but not least, by Munkatron, in the merely Tier 10. USS Summers, who is right over there. So a fairly powerful division, I'm sure you'll agree, in this, well, technically Tier 11 arms race battle here on the loop map. Before we get stuck into the Annapolis, quick word about the Devastation that Muggy Cat is sailing. It's basically a Conqueror, except it's got an extra gun in each of its turrets. That thing has, I'm not making this up, 16 16-inch guns. Yes, really. The Annapolis, of course, is no laughing matter either, because the Annapolis is basically the USS Des Moines on steroids. I mean, the Des Moines already has the fastest loading 203mm or 8-inch guns in the game, and the Annapolis has the same guns, it just has, and we're sensing a pattern developing here, more of them. The Annapolis has an extra turret and therefore has 12 rather than the already terrifying 9 rapid reloading 8-inch guns that the Des Moines enjoys. But that's not all, because the Annapolis also gets a burst fire mechanic. Now that burst fire mechanic, if you're at the wrong end of it in the wrong place at the wrong time, it is probably going to be the last thing you'll ever see. Because instead of the already pant-wettingly scary to be on the receiving end sub 5-second reload that these 8-inch guns enjoy, when you activate the burst fire mode, the next 3 salvos are more or less instantaneous. This thing will put 36 super heavy 8-inch armor piercing shells, or, you know, high explosive, depending on what the situation requires, addressed to your postcode in seconds. So the burst fire potential on this thing is absolutely hilarious, as long as you're not on the receiving end. However, that power comes with a fairly hefty price, because after activating the burst fire mode, it puts all of your guns on a reload for an absolute eternity. So using that burst fire, you better be sure that you're going to kill what you're shooting at, because you are completely vulnerable when it's on cooldown. Meanwhile, the team have already lost the Shimakaze, and that would have been a great smoke screen from Munkatron there if not for the surprise arrival of the enemy Lushan, who has utterly ruined it thanks to a heavy cruiser's smoke firing penalty. Fortunately, however, well, there's good news, bad news. The Lushan's dead. I mean, obviously. It's not like Kadir hadn't been spotted approaching. The Lushan saw him coming, and it's an Annapolis. I mean, what did the Lushan think was going to happen? So, the Lushan's dead. Kadir has once again gone unspotted, but the Lushan's suicide has cost him half of his health. What we're seeing here was a prime example of the expression, professionals are predictable, it's the amateurs you got to watch out for. Anybody who had the slightest idea what they were doing would have seen this Annapolis heading towards them, possibly dumped some torpedoes, but turned around and gotten the hell out of there, because hydro and radar, and it's an Annapolis. But the Lushan kept coming. He displayed zero regard for his own self-preservation, as a result of which he died, and Kadir lost half of his health. Fortunately, it's still early in the battle, and this is arms race, and there are various different buffs that you can pick up for your team, one of which is a health regeneration buff, although Kadir's team haven't managed to get one of those yet, but they do have a reload buff. It's not like this thing needs the help. But I'm sure Kadir isn't going to complain. He's managed to circle back into the smoke screen that the Summers deployed, and this is going to be really, really bad news for the Edgar over there. Oh, is he going to slip out of the smoke screen? He's slow and he's trying to avoid it. Somebody's going to need to respot the Edgar. Oh, no, it's smoked up, and it's out of radar range. These torpedoes could be a problem. He's trying to make it from one side of the smoke to the other and respot any other targets while also dodging those torpedoes. Unfortunately, and this is really kind of weird, because he hasn't actually been spotted, and he did dodge the torpedoes, but some of that incoming fire was remarkably accurate. Oh, here goes the reload boost. Right, there it is. Look at this. Look at that wall of fire. I mean, the results were kind of disappointing. But his guns are now... Yeah, and that did get him spotted. His guns are now, of course, on the reload cooldown. But thanks to the reload buff that the team have picked up here in Arms Race, the reload isn't actually that bad anymore. There's only actually 28 seconds of downtime on his guns after he activates that burst fire. Which, well, it's not good, but it's not completely terrible. I mean, 28 seconds isn't that bad. Most of the battleships in the game have to operate around reloads longer than that. The team have, of course, lost their Thrasher. There goes a Tier 10 submarine. Oh, come on, Kadir. What did that island ever do to you? You should probably get behind it. There we go. He's gone undetected again. And he can lob some of his shots over the saddle in the middle of the island over there. And he's moved forward enough that he can now get all of them over. Going for the enemy Condor. That's another super ship. There are, I think, 6 in total in this battle. 3 on each team. Kadir himself, HMS Devastation there, and a Clausewitz on his team. The enemy team have a Satsuma, which has some seriously scary firepower, an Edgar, and the Condor. Enemy destroyer spotted. Let's go. High explosive loaded. I mean, this is a sub 4 second reload even without the burst fire. I mean, that is just scary. You can see he's thinking about using the burst fire on the Edgar when it gets respotted. And then he thinks better of it and goes back to just regular, you know, just regular non-burst fire mode where he's only pumping a salvo of 12 shots out once every, I think, 3.8 seconds. Yeah. And that's just with one reload buff, by the way. So far, I know the team have now picked up another increased reload speed buff, so that's 2. It will go as high as 3. The team have lost another ship, though. There goes the Vermont. And they've still only inflicted that 1 casualty on the enemy team, the suicidal Lucian at the beginning. The Condor's gotten respotted after taking out the Vermont. Cannot really afford to let him get away. No, he's gotten away. Then a couple of things happen in quick succession. First, Munkatron in the Summers takes out the enemy Edgar, which is great news because that's 1 super ship. And then Muggy Cat in the Devastation takes out the Condor. So the kills are even, and the enemy team are down to 1 super ship. The Satsuma is still floating around there somewhere. The team are ahead by 80 points, and the key area is about to appear. So this is another feature that's unique to an arms race battle. There are no cap circles in an arms race battle until about halfway through, when 1 cap circle known as the key area appears, and it starts off big and then it starts getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And whichever team can take that key area has basically won, because you start getting a ridiculous amount of points per second towards your score. The problem, of course, is taking it, because it's right in the middle of the map, and the longer the battle goes on, the smaller the circle gets, forcing everybody to fight at closer and closer quarters. Okay, 2 things just happened. The key area has appeared. You look at the minimap, you can see that huge cap circle in the middle of the map, but it's going to get smaller and smaller. The other thing that happened is that somebody on the team just grabbed the 3rd and final reload buff. I wonder what his reload is like now. Remember, with 2 reload buffs, and without the burst fire mode activated, his guns were reloading and firing, I think, once every 3.4, 3.5 seconds. So let's see what it's like now. He's going to go for the Preußen, which is a good choice to target. He just needs to clear the island. It's a dangerous ship, and it's on low health, and it's pretty much the only one in range. So Preußen it is. Ready? Let's have a look. 2.5 seconds. This is a heavy cruiser pumping a salvo of 12 8-inch shells out without the burst fire buff every 2.5 seconds. Oh, that's going to be real bad news for any enemy destroyers that get spotted, as long as he can... Oh, he can. Yeah. Yeah, you probably want to duck behind that island, Sunshine, because I don't think you're going to enjoy what's about to happen. Oh, he's managed to go undetected. Oh, no, he's been detected again. Oh, and he's... Oh... That's one destroyer captain whose sphincter must have been puckering like crazy for a few seconds there. Oh, I've been spotted. Oh, no, I'm all right. Oh, I've been spotted again. Oh, no, no, I'm all right. I'm all right. I'm going to live for now. Wow. But this is just crazy. You know what else is crazy? The fact that he's done less than 100,000 damage thus far. All right, spotted by aircraft. Ooh, that's the Satsuma. Oh, you do not want to get shot at by him. 8 510mm guns that will smash a cruiser from any angle. He still only has half of his health, by the way, because the team haven't actually managed to pick up a regen buff yet. The enemy team have, which you can kind of look at as a sort of good news, bad news situation. There's another perfect smokescreen, by the way, from Munkatron in the summers. Even with a heavy cruiser's smoke firing penalty, nobody's going to spot him firing from smoke from here. He did use the burst fire just there to try to finish off the Howland. Unfortunately, it didn't work, but with this triple reload buff, the downtime on the burst fire is now down to only 19 seconds. He's not using it here, though, because, quite frankly, he doesn't need to. Look at how quickly, without burst fire, this full health Hindenburg gets utterly wrecked. With something like a 2.1 second reload there, without burst fire, that full health Hindenburg, in the couple of seconds that it was going to take to get into cover behind the island, took 7 citadels. And that was Kadir's first kill. He's up to 170,000 damage, and he's still on half health. The team still haven't picked up a health regen buff. And then he gets the Confederate Award. And since he's clearly running Bull Halsey as his captain, that means he's just picked up an even faster main gun battery reload. Which is one of the special perks of the American legendary commander. What is his reload now? Oh, actually, we'll come back to that in a moment, because things are starting to go horribly wrong. The team have just lost 2 of their battleships. Oh, that's not good. Oh, they've just lost another one. That's 2 Grosser Kurfürsts and an Iwami dead within seconds of each other. The team now only have the 1 battleship, Muggy Cat, in HMS Devastation. Okay. Wow. Would you look at that? Who needs a burst fire mechanic when your guns are reloading and firing in less than 1 second? Oh, he's used it anyway after switching to the armor-piercing shells in order to try to finish off the Montana. And Montana did go down. I mean, he didn't get the kill. Muggy Cat and the Devastation did, but he did do 50,000 damage to it over the course of about 6 seconds. So and also, the overall reload on the burst fire is now down to, I think it was 15 seconds, which is about half of what it normally would be. The thing is, though, these guns are firing so fast now, with Adrenaline Rush and the amount of damage that he's taken and the triple reload buff that the team have picked up here in Arms Race, that I honestly think using the burst fire mechanic at this point is counterproductive, because he's firing less than once every... Actually, I'm not sure, because I think earlier when we were seeing what looked like a sub 1 second reload on the main battery guns, that was simply because the front turrets and the rear turrets were not firing in sync. So what we were actually seeing was the difference between the front and the rear turrets firing. So we're going to need to see him salvo firing all of the guns at the same time in order to see exactly what the reload is down to now. Oh, he's taking some fire from the Preußen over there. You know, not great. Getting shot at by a battleship when you're in a cruiser is never a good feeling. But at least it's not the Satsuma. Yeah, he doesn't want to hang around and wait for the Preußen to reload. Triggers the burst fire mode to get a couple of sneaky shots off, and then gets himself into cover behind the island. And that, of course, is not only the central cap circle, it's also a health regen buff. Now, it's not available immediately, but he's definitely going to want that. I mean, the ship has a heal, but most of the damage that he's taken up until now has been armor piercing, so he can't actually heal any of that back. Oh, he's gotten spotted. It's not the Venezia. He's out of line of sight. Possible submarine. Somebody seems to think so. Not good. Well, there's, again, increased hit points, which doesn't really help. All he needs is a heal. So they're 1 kill behind, but they've got more buffs, and they are ahead on points. And that's bad news. The Satsuma just took out Muggy Cat in the devastation. So they're now only 40 points ahead. They're 2 kills down. And they've got no battleships left. They've got 1 destroyer and 3 cruisers. And the enemy team are basically all battleships. Which is terrible news if you're in a cruiser. The enemy team have 4 battleships, a cruiser, and 1 submarine. Some torpedoes there aimed at the Venezia. It would be real nice if they could kill him, but they don't. He's just earned himself the High Caliber Award with 240,000 damage done. He's going to have to play this extremely cautiously because cruisers do not like getting hit by battleships at any angle. Particularly not Satsumas with 510mm guns who can effectively citadel you from any angle. Oh, they've just lost their Minotaur. Although he did take the enemy Preußen down with him. Kadir has to go for it. He needs to kill this Satsuma. There goes the burst fire mode. Unfortunately, he didn't manage to pull it off. And now he's caught in open water between a Venezia and a Satsuma at almost exactly the same point where the Clausewitz goes down. It's now just him and Munkatron in the Summers. Oh, you've got to kill him. You've got to kill him. And you can't really afford to use the burst fire because you need your guns firing. Using the burst fire and not killing him is what got you into this kind of trouble in the first place. Okay, the Satsuma's down. Oh, the Venezia turning to get his torpedoes or possibly all of his guns firing. That's a mistake you're not going to make twice. There's the double strike and the Kraken Unleashed, which also triggers a reduced detection buff, but too late. The Conqueror takes him out. However, that is 346,000 damage done, and while Munkatron here in the Summers is now the only ship surviving on the team against 3 enemies, he is the only ship surviving on the team against 3 enemies, none of whom are anywhere near this central cap circle, thanks to Kadir taking out all of the immediate threats. The only remaining threats are 2 battleships and a submarine. Now the 2 battleships shouldn't be too much of a problem, because if you look at the map down to the south, you can see that the Conqueror and the Awami are nowhere near this central cap circle. The enemy submarine, however, he hasn't been spotted for a while. Looking at the minimap, he's all the way over there to the west, but that's where he was last seen. And, well, you know, he's a submarine, and by design, they're sneaky buggers. By design, they're also very, very slow, but this is World of Warships, so he could be close. The one thing we know for sure is he's not inside this cap circle because Munkatron is continuing to capture. But the scores are dead even, 300 points apiece. And he is the last surviving ship on the team. So, you know, no pressure, Munkatron. I mean, Kadir only has a 346,000 damage, high caliber, double strike, Confederate Kraken Unleashed riding on you, not screwing this up. So, and also, YouTube is watching. Fortunately, Munkatron here is actually capable of thinking and breathing at the same time. His plan is to take this central cap and then get the hell out of Dodge. Now, because we can't see exactly what he's seeing from his perspective, because it's not his replay, I did start to get a little bit excited here when I saw him turning around. What are you doing? Take the cap and get out of there. The reason he's doing this and dumping torpedoes behind him is that while we can't see it here in the replay, it's not obvious, but there is somebody else in this cap circle with him. He was seconds away from taking the cap and getting out. And then the capture progress got blocked, which means there's somebody in here with him. He hasn't seen anything, which means it's probably that U-4501. Yep, there's the Conqueror, but too far away. He's not in the cap circle. And the U-4501 can only cap when it's on the surface. There it is. Shots out. He doesn't have to kill the submarine. Obviously, killing the submarine would be nice, but all he has to do is force him to dive. And that's it. He has now capped this central point. Remember, these guys were on 300 points each at the point where he flipped this cap just seconds ago, and now he's motoring the hell out of there. Look at the points gain. This is what you get when you take this central cap. He's 80 points ahead. He's 90 points ahead. He's 100 points ahead. That's how fast you gain points when your team control this key area in an arms race battle. And now he's getting the hell out of there because he does not want that submarine to surface and respot him. It has resurfaced, but he's far enough away. I think he's managed to get away without being spotted. No, submarine must have spotted him. There's no other explanation for why he would be shooting at him. Submarine's trying to ping him. It looks like that ping did hit. I can bet you the damage control went off. And even though the team now no longer control that cap circle for the few seconds that they did, he gained 160 points over the enemy team. They're now recapping it, but there's less than 30 seconds of the battle left, so they're not going to cap it in time. They have to kill him. Here come the homing torpedoes. There's the ping. It missed, which means the homing torpedoes will not have a lock, which is just as well, because I guarantee you Munkatron's damage control is on cooldown. As long as he doesn't shoot at these guys, he's going to win. And then... No, he's not going to do that. I'm messing with you. He's not that stupid. This isn't an episode of A Game of Throws. Of course he's not going to do something as stupid as giving his position away in the final seconds of a guaranteed victory and getting himself killed. We save those kind of things for episodes of A Game of Throws. So thanks in no small part to Munkatron here in the summers. I mean, he didn't just guarantee the win at the end, he was also laying down some extremely useful smoke screens for Kadir in the Annapolis. But that was a win with 346,000 damage done. Double strike, Kraken Unleashed, high caliber, Confederate, a whole boatload of other awards included, and 3,700, nearly 4,000 base experience for Kadir in the USS Annapolis. Big thanks, of course, to his two teammates who, between the three of them, took the top 3 spots on the team on experience earned. Extremely well done, fellas. Pleasure to see. And I hope everybody else enjoyed it, because that's it for today. As always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.